live now. Meeting is now live on YouTube right then. You look good. Got the hat on and everything.
That's one thing about, oh, no mind.
Here we go. Hey guys, good afternoon. It's Kevtech here, bringing you another video on information technology. I hope you guys are having a good day. Happy Saturday. And today I have a special guest with me. It's an honor and a privilege to talk to KeepITTechnie. How you doing, man? What's up?
Hey, how you doing, Kevin? Glad to be here.
Awesome, man. So I actually am excited for this interview because I've been I've been looking forward to this actually, because you had an interview one-on-one with each other on your channel. So now I have you on my channel. So there's now I get to ask you questions, which is I love doing that. So just for the audience, because they don't know who you are, can you tell me about yourself? Not in a non-interview kind of way. You go to a job interview, tell me about yourself. So tell me about yourself. Tell me what you do, and then tell the audience about your YouTube channel too, because I know you have a YouTube channel. And okay, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So I'm Josh from KeepITTechnie. I've been in the IT field for over 15 years. I'm married. I got two younger boys, and like I said, I've been working in the IT field for about 15 years. I've done time in the military as well. I was in the Army Reserves, so I did 14 years in that, deployed a couple of times. I'm originally from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That's where I grew up, and I've been moving around the country a little bit. My wife is actually from Las Vegas, and so that's kind of how I ended up in Las Vegas, so she could be around her family. I went to school, got an associate's degree in computer networking, and then got a bachelor's degree in computer science. And I went to American Intercontinental University online. And that was because, I was in the military and constantly keeping up with jobs. So I went to an online school just to make it, simpler while I took care of my family as well, So, but like I said, I've been in the game for a while. I'm currently working as a database administrator. And I forgot to say, I've held multiple titles. I've worked as a systems administrator, network administrator, and database developer. I've done some work with that, analyst work, as well as currently I'm working as a database administrator for the government. So it's pretty much about me.
And what's your YouTube channel about? Because you didn't talk about that. I'd like to know about that.
And I always forget to promote myself, but yes, I have a YouTube channel where I talk about Linux, and I know it's kind of weird. None of my positions in IT have anything to do with Linux. I've never worked in a Linux administration role or any type of Linux role, as a job. I just fell in love with learning Linux. On one of my positions, there was a guy, he used Linux a lot. He kind of introduced me to it. And so I took it home and just started playing around with it and fell in love with it. And that's what I talk about on my channel. And it's not really how do I get into the IT field type of channel. It's mainly about me going through learning different things in Linux. And then once I learn it, I try to put it out there for anybody that's interested in learning Linux or whatever. So that's the main focus of my channel is just and then also I recently started doing interviews. That's when I brought you on, Kev. I'm on like interview number 23 so far. And what I try to do with that is just bringing people in that have worked in the IT field or currently working in the IT field, so they could bring their experiences over and just talk about tech, and how to get into these fields. So it's pretty much it.
Nice, man. I know you brought someone that really caught my attention, by the way. It was a gentleman who actually wrote the book of Linux Plus or something like that for CompTIA. That
Yeah,
really,
Ted.
that really, like, I'm like, wow, he actually got an interview with the guy that actually was one of the people that wrote the book, the CompTIA Linux Plus book, and that really threw
Hmm.
me off. And I saw that interview from the beginning all the way till the end, and that guy, oh my god, like, he has so much knowledge, so much
Yeah,
wealth of
yeah,
information that I never even met someone like that. Like, it's good to have people like that. By the way, when you have people that are that have been in the field for a really long time, and you could just you could grab their knowledge and absorb their knowledge. And I like the fact that you interviewed that gentleman. I actually added him as a friend on LinkedIn. And that was a very good interview. I love that interview, by the way. And anyone that's watching
appreciate it.
this video, I suggest you watch that interview, and I suggest you subscribe to KeepITTechnie as well. He has a lot of good videos. He helps people get into IT too. He goes over Linux stuff as well, and he does a lot of things that are free, which like, no one asked him to do those types of videos or interview people. He's interviewing me right now, and he can do other things if he wanted to. He chooses not to. He chooses to actually come in and talk to me, and actually take the time and energy to actually come and talk to me, and talk to my audience. I greatly appreciate that too. So if you guys
Yeah.
are watching this right now, I suggest you go ahead and follow him as well. He has a lot of good videos. He helps people too. It's an IT community. Just people, I tell people this is a IT community kind of thing. Like, it's not just me. We have other YouTube channels that are helping people in cybersecurity, Linux, sysadmin, and all this other stuff. So if we could unite every community in different fields and have everyone work together as a team, that's what I like to see in IT and on YouTube and everything. So,
Exactly.
um, what you mentioned about family, that hit home for me because I am a family person. I
Hmm.
have my mom, my dad, I take care of my dad and stuff like that. So that actually hit home for me because I totally get with family comes first. Is super duper important. I don't care what anyone says. Like, I tell people, like, it's your health and family. So you have to actually be there for your kids, be there for your loved ones is very important. Going out of topic, so going back into the topic. So what made you decide to go into IT? I'm just wondering, like, what's what's your motivator or your motivation to get into IT? Why'd you go into IT instead of going into something else?
Okay, so um, like I stated, I grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and it's not that much opportunity down there, to be honest. Especially in other fields. And the reason I say that, my dad, he actually worked for ExxonMobil, which is one of the biggest oil refineries down in that area. And so I didn't want to follow that route. I remember him coming home smelling like all these chemicals when I was younger in high school and middle school and stuff, smelling like all these chemicals. And I was like, oh, I never want to work out there at the plant. And so I said, well, let me join the army. And I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't have the grades to go to college, to be honest, or the extra money, to actually go. So I joined the army, and the army kind of changed my life because I was probably hanging around with people that I could have gotten in trouble or done something wrong, at some point. But um so I joined the army. That was one thing. And that's why I always say the army kind of changed my life. It kind of put me on direction, gave me that discipline, uh, you know, as far as just understanding how to be on time, understanding how to, not that I didn't learn certain things at the house, but, I kind of reinforced it. And so once I got back, I actually joined the reserves. And so with the reserves, what you do is go home. You get to go back home and you do the 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks over the summer. And so I still had to figure out what I wanted to do. Because throughout the rest of the month, I still have to find a job, I still have to work. And so someone mentioned to me, hey, you've always been pretty good with computers, and I used to be the guy burning CDs and stuff back in the day. And so so but I so I decided to go to Remington College. I found this program. I didn't have the best of grades. I was like a CEB student, so to speak. And so I went to Remington College, did that computer networking thing, and that kind of, you know, uh, I don't know, with that school. And that's one thing I talk about, these types of technical schools. They actually, a lot of times they have that good hands-on training. And that kind of like, I don't know, I caught the bug at that point, the IT bug. I was like, just being able to set up a server and, you know, configuring the network and all that stuff in that course, you know, it kind of reinforced it in my head, like, oh, this is something I definitely want to get into. And so, you know, and the rest was history after that. You know, that's how I got into IT.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's very important too. What you like, I from what I took from you is they mentioned that the hands-on training, which
Mhm.
is very important, which is something that people don't talk about, is that the schools are really good. It's good to go to school, but you need that real life experience.
Yeah.
In some of these schools, they don't provide that. So then when you get out of school, then you're actually not prepared for the actual job. Like they give
Mhm.
you like the, I guess like the knowledge to actually like understand it. They don't give you the actual real life hands-on experience where you actually put it into practice and you actually do it. So being in a school like that definitely does help you out a lot. Um, I wanted to ask you like so I know you got your first job. So you're getting your first job in IT. How was that? Like what was your how did you get up to how did you get to that job? You fix your resume. I want to know what your strategy was
Okay.
for that.
Yeah. I I mean, to be honest, I think I just got lucky in the timing of how I actually got into it, because I finished my degree. I didn't have any IT experience other than things that I put on from the military I learned, because we had to go through some computer training and all that stuff in the Army. And so I was able to convert some of that over and put that on my resume. So make sure you guys look into that. Is ways to take information, especially if you're in the military. You can take certain things and classes that you've taken in the military and convert those to uh, basically time on your resume or experience on your resume. And so what I meant by timing and I guess kind of getting lucky, uh, I applied out of state because my wife was like, "Oh, I really want to, you know, move. I want you to experience Las Vegas and, you know, move out there." So I applied a lot over in Las Vegas, you know, online and everything. And I think I got lucky because a couple people, I guess, since I was coming from a different state, they looked at my resume harder than I guess someone that was actually living there. At least that's what I got, because since I've been living in Las Vegas, it's actually been a little harder to get into more positions out here. But I guess since I was coming from out of state and they seen I was just finishing up school. That's another thing. When you finish school, um, they a lot of IT companies, they want people that's fresh so they can mold them into the type of IT person that they want. You see what I'm saying? So that's, I don't know, that's the way I've seen it. You know what I'm saying? But that's how I think I got kind of lucky. And I hope I'm making sense.
No,
But
no, no,
that's
you're
the
good.
way
You're good.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's the way I saw it happen. And so my first position, and this is another reason why I say lucky, because the first position was actually a high position. It was a systems administrator position. So I was working as a system administrator. I was managing this small company's, you know, whole network. And I had to do everything along with another, you know, technician there or administrator there. But we basically did everything, me and one other guy. And so um, that got me a lot of experience, especially since it was like a smaller business. Um, I was able to, you know, get more out of it because, like we were just talking about the whole hands-on thing. It was issues every single day because, yeah, it's a small business, so they don't want to spend much money on IT. So you gotta make sure everything, you know, stays up. The old computers that they have, and you got to make sure it's good to go, you know, and fix things, take RAM out of one computer, put it in another one, just to get stuff to limp along. You know what I'm saying? And so so you get a lot of hands-on experience that way. But I guess I hope I answered your question.
No, no, you answer my question. And shout out to everyone for watching and joining me. Shout out to John, Tim, Marvin, Steven, Haifa, Professor Black Ops. Good to see you here in the building. Kev, Lucky, everyone. Just thank you guys for joining. Gene, thank you for joining. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm gonna ask you another question, which is something to do with my Discord, by the way, because people were asking me about this. So, what's a what's a typical day in the life of someone that does a database job? Is there like a lot of monitoring, or how does that
Ye-
work?
Yeah, it's you, all right. As a database administrator, you basically babysitting servers. It's like in between systems administrator and um applicate you kind of sit in between the systems administrator and I guess the developers on the front end, or the people that actually maintain the application. And if you guys know how a database works, most of the time you have a front end for it, so that's where your developers, or that's the way they develop things based on the data, and all we're doing is basically making sure that the database is running properly, kind of like the system administrator a little bit, but you're making sure that that database, as far as memory, um, as far as like errors, any type of errors, just verifying that the data is being backed up properly, or if there's like a cluster, just making sure that the failover is working properly, backups are done properly, all that good stuff. So, I mean, that's essentially what I do. And then issues pop up throughout that you have to solve. So it could be connection issues, it could be um the user accounts associated with it, maybe the services are not stored, and it's just basic troubleshooting, kind of like a system administrator keeping up a server, but you're focusing in on the SQL application running in the background that's managing all the data, or housing all the data.
That's pretty
So
cool, man. So basically, it's basically like, yeah, I'm not gonna go and restart a server. I'm gonna restart a service, not a server.
exactly.
So all services, understanding like the different services. I'm pretty sure you probably use the event log and you check the
hmm
logs and everything. You just see which service you
yeah.
need to enable, disable, and stuff like
Yep.
that. I'm guessing, which is
Yes.
guess because I don't
No,
do
no,
that.
you're
I'm just
right.
guessing.
No, you're
So
right. You're right.
um,
And just to give you a little background, I kind of fell into database administration. I developed a database while I was on a contract overseas, and it was Access front end, SQL back end. And so I was an analyst at the time, but they kind of bumped me up as a database administrator. Um, even though the position was really a database developer and maintainer. So I basically developed the front end. I developed the back end by setting up all the tables and all that stuff. But then I developed the front end and create a nice user interface for the data. So
that's pretty cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, I was asking that question. Someone asked me that, like, tell me, can you do me a favor, Kevin? Like, yeah, can you ask him that question? I'm like,
mhm.
okay, I'll ask him that question. I was gonna ask you. So what certifications do you currently hold, or what certifications do you think helped you out when you're getting your job? So do you have no certs at all? I just like to know.
Okay, so with I've mainly been working government contracts. So one of um the standard certifications you need is security plus in order to get into government contracting. That's like the base certification that you need, CompTIA security plus. So I have and just started out, I have network plus and I have security plus. And I always tell people, look in the A plus if you don't have any experience or any school, because if you have school, that's kind of why I skipped A plus, and I didn't need it because I learned all that in school, as far as hardware, software, and just overall general computer knowledge, just understanding that. I got that from school, so I skipped those. But if you don't have any schooling, you haven't done any training, it is recommended to start at the A plus, but I skipped it. So I have Net Plus, Security Plus. I'm currently working on Linux Plus, so I don't have it yet. Um, and then that way, And that's the thing. Like I said, this whole YouTube thing has been a hobby, and just helping people learn Linux based on me learning it. Um, but I never thought to get certified in it because I didn't need it in any positions. But I figured I would, since I'm taking this YouTube thing kind of serious, I think it would be best if I am certified Linux Plus,
Yeah.
from giving people, information about something that I'm not certified in. So, yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. That makes sense. And I'm man, you're packed with certs, man. It's good.
No, it's just two, man. It's just two.
It's something, it's
Yeah, yeah,
something.
yeah,
What
yeah.
what are your thoughts on this? Is gonna be a random question. I don't
Mhm.
know if familiar with this. What are your thoughts on the Google certification, the Google IT support certification?
Now, to be honest, I haven't looked into the Google search, and that's something I need to do. But one that I can recommend is, especially if you're looking at getting into Linux, is the Linux Foundation certifications. They their certifications are actually almost harder than the Red Hat certifications,
Mhm.
because it's performance based. So they give you a virtual machine and you have to go in and configure it however you want to. And I'm sorry, I'm segueing into something else, but
No,
yeah.
no, no. I was gonna actually gonna ask you questions about. Do you know anything about Red Hat, like the red team and the blue team and stuff like that? You know
Yeah,
anything
red
about
team. Well, red team, blue team. That's dealing with cybersecurity.
it? Hmm.
Um, because you got your offense, defense, and I'm not no cybersecurity guy. I don't know much about it. I know enough to, I guess, I know the tools when it comes to cybersecurity and Kali Linux and all that good stuff. But um, what? Hold on.
Do you use like Puppet or anything?
Puppet? No, I haven't used Puppet, but I know what it is. I've used Ansible. And
Ansible. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I've used Ansible, which is, the automation tool. It's a IT automation tool for Linux. You can you can use pretty much anything. I've done a video on it in the past, but you could do Cisco equipment because the OS is kind of a Linux operating system that's
Hmm.
on it. So you could push out configs. It's like an automation tool to keep things in sync as far as like configurations and just pushing out uh just different configurations depending on whatever you're trying to do.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have you used Hack the Box.
Nah, I haven't. And like
Just
I said, I'm
wondering.
not a no, I'm not a cyber guy, a cybersecurity guy.
Hmm.
Um, I heard you say Professor Black Ops. I know he's a cyber guy,
Yeah,
but
I'm
yeah, I
gonna bring
haven't.
him here. Don't worry
Yeah.
about that. We'll schedule something. I'm bringing him here too.
Yeah, and I'm
Um,
sorry, I'm not trying to avoid the question. It's
no, no,
just,
no, 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 no.
yeah,
That's fine.
I
That's
don't
fine.
want to
That's
give
fine.
people bad
No,
information.
no, no. I get it. I get it. I was
Mm,
gonna ask you another question. Okay, this is a random question. This is a very random. There's a question I ask everyone on when I interview them. So, if you were to go back in time, and you had to give yourself advice, what would you have changed for yourself to get a job easier in IT? So this is like for someone that's brand new. What would be your advice for someone that's brand new to IT? How should you get started in IT? And I know I'm a help desk guy, but like there's different jobs. So what would be your advice? What's your advice? What's your thought
um,
to make life a lot easier? Like what would be your advice? Like you're like, oh man, I shouldn't have done this. I could have done this, and I would have been a lot better now. Like why did I do this? Like what's your advice for someone that's brand new to IT? Like what would you say as like what you should know right now in 2021?
I would say that I should have hopped into more programming, in my opinion. Because just based on the way things are going nowadays, and I know we don't know the future, but just looking back at myself, I would have focused a little bit more on programming and took programming a little bit more serious when I was first starting out, or at least adding that as something that I would focus on and really learn, because that's tying into everything. Python, I know Python is picking up a lot of traction, but it's actually been around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And JavaScript and C. I wish I would have hopped into some of those programming languages a little more, coming, and I think that would have helped me uh, even further my career. Which I'm learning it now. It's just kind of hard to get into it when you're working a full-time job that's dealing with something totally different, or you don't have to touch programming as much.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so hopefully that answers your question.
So what certs do you say for someone that's brand new to get into IT? Like what certs did you recommend? Do you recommend certs? Do you recommend now there's another question. So like do you recommend a certification or do you recommend someone going to school and get a degree? Which one do you recommend? Because since you went to
It's
school, like which one what
mhm,
is better for someone that's brand new to IT and they're like, okay, I need
mhm.
advice from you. What would you tell them?
It all depends on what you can afford. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Certifications, it's a whole lot cheaper to study up and prepare and take a certification than going to college in most cases. Now, if your family got money, then I would recommend go to college. And then during college, you can work on those certifications as well. You know what I'm saying? So you had that option either way. So um, if you don't have a lot of money, I would recommend start with the certifications, because I've seen a lot of people um, get into this field and be very successful off of strictly certifications. Like I worked with a guy overseas, and I try not to bring up money that much, but we were making an absorbent amount in Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
Dude didn't have a degree; all he had was certifications, and he was able to make upwards of six figures. And I know that's overseas, so it's kind of inflated because you're in a danger zone and all that stuff. But with those certifications, you're able to get your foot in the door, because when you get that certification, depending on where you get it from, CompTIA, it's a good one, um, Linux Foundation, Red Hat, whatever, Microsoft certifications, at least that's the ones I've looked into,
Mm-hmm.
they hold a lot of weight, and that lets the company or the organization know that you actually know the material, at least enough to pass the test. You know what I'm saying? But you are very familiar with it kind of certifies that you know what you're talking about when it comes to whatever area you go into or you're going into.
No, I definitely agree with you. But and also like for me, I tell people like because people always like I make this conversation with someone and they ask me like this and that, and I'm like, it depends what you want to learn too, because like
Mhm.
everyone wants to do something different.
Yeah.
So you can pick the search that works for your career, like what and pick something that you like. Don't get a
Mhm.
job that you don't like. It doesn't make any sense. You're gonna be miserable, right?
Yeah.
So pick something you like. And I tell people also that it also depends where you live too,
Mhm.
because I live in New York, so they might be hiring for help desk, but if you go somewhere else, they may not be hiring for help desk. They might be just hiring for sysadmin jobs. You don't know because every state, every country is different. So
Mhm.
you want to check your job market and see what it is. So,
Yeah.
um, what do
And
you
then
what are your
also,
mhm.
let me add this to it as well. Also, you don't know, a lot of times you don't know where you're gonna end up in IT.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And so you don't want to invest a whole bunch of money up front on some certification area that you um may find out later on that you're not interested in. Like at one point, I was looking at going the whole Cisco route. So I was going to spend money on those certifications and go to Cisco CCNA, but I end up not going that direction. So that's all I wanted to say. But go ahead and ask your question.
Oh no, I was gonna say I was gonna say what are your okay for someone that's brand new to what are your thoughts on connecting with people, LinkedIn, resumes, and stuff like that? What's your advice for that?
Okay. Yeah. So my advice is pretty much the same as everybody else. You need that LinkedIn. You need that network of people. Um, is I don't want to use the word nepotism or anything like that, but it's all on who you know. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, a lot of times getting into different IT positions. And yeah, it's cases where you don't know anybody, but it also helps though. Let's say you're working, because I work a lot of contract jobs. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say you're working on a contract, this contract is ending come November, I don't know, this year. and you start looking for another position where you can hit up people in your network to see, who's hiring, and they could possibly put in a good word. So anybody that you've worked with at previous jobs, you don't know where they're going to end up as well. So if you worked with someone that's a systems administrator somewhere, they may be a director of IT, 5 years from now, and they remember how well you did in your position, and they may ask you, hey, you want to come over here, we got a position for you, working as whatever you do. So that network is very important, you know what I'm saying, and keeping contact with people that you actually worked with, people that you've met at um, whatever you call those tech meetups and stuff. All that will help you, you know what I'm saying, and just maintain those relationships.
So you're saying don't burn any bridges?
Yes, exactly.
Don't burn bridges with people in IT. You're saying even if you're not in a even if you're not in a good company, you should at least keep your connections with people.
Yes, exactly.
Doesn't matter who it is, even if you're having a bad day in that job. So, I was gonna ask you, how's a contract work, by the way? Not to get too personal with your job, but how's a contract work? Can you like this? Do you work with a job recruiter and they get you a job when your contract is ending? How's that work for someone that has a contract job?
All right, so contracting that really falls under that whole networking thing. It's kind of hard to get into, but once you in, people know that you, especially if you complete the contract, you know what I'm saying, you're more likely to complete the contract. So people will bring you on, or companies will bring you on, but it's typically recruiters. They'll find you on LinkedIn, and most of the contracts I've worked on, you have to have a clearance. So it's not that many people with clearances out there, or it's less people with clearances out there. So once you have that clearance, that's one thing I try to tell people that are in the military: don't let that clearance expire. You know, and a clearance is basically, you got top secret, and then they even got something higher than that, but top secret, confidential. So once you get those, it's basically a background check, US background check. They go through, they dig into everything, really, like your finances and all that stuff. And it only lasts for a certain amount of time. I know the secret is like 10 years. Top secret is like 5 or something like that. And all this information is out there. So I'm not giving y'all any, information that's wrong. Or that I'm not supposed to.
It's funny you say that, because I had someone that got a job for the government, for the White House, actually. And it's just some random people came to my house and they asked me about him. They asked me, I'm like, what the hell is this? So then people came to my house, they knocked my door. They're like, okay, tell me about this person. Is he a good neighbor or a bad neighbor? And it was like interviewing me, and I don't even know what the hell was going on. And then 3 months later, this is when I went to John Jay College. This is when I went to college. I didn't only have a degree in college or anything, but few years later, I went to the same school. I found him, and he's like, yeah, because of you, I got the job. They actually asked me about. I'm like, so who the hell was that? Oh, it's for a job. They interview their neighbors to figure out how you are as a person. Then after that, if they like you, they'll give you a job. So that happened to me. I'm like, what the hell is going on over here?
They it's really I think they subcontract it out now, but I know when I first got my clearance, they actually sent agents. The agents do the interviews, and what I mean by FBI agents, they're doing the investigation. Like anybody you put on that form that you fill out, they're gonna most likely either call or go to them and interview them based on your character. You try to find out your character and your, financial responsibility, stuff like that, just how you are as a person, because they want to have that to make the decision.
That happened to me, man. I had some random guy come to my door, knock my door, interview me. I'm like, what is going on right now? This is so weird. And they were asking me some weird questions. But going back into the topic, how do you go about getting a security clearance? Do you know anything about that? Or you don't know nothing about that?
Oh, yes. All right. The way it works is if you join the military, yeah, they'll put you in for a clearance. But as far as civilians goes, or people that's outside that haven't been in the military or whatever, it's a
Hmm.
little bit tougher. It's all depending on the company if they're willing to pay the money for it. Because what it is it's a money thing.
Hmm.
Um, they'll rather find somebody that already has a clearance so they don't have to pay to get the clearance started. And the clearance actually takes a while to actually, that whole process, how somebody
Yeah, yeah,
showed up, that whole
yeah.
process takes months. And so meantime, somebody is still not sitting in that position on the contract. And the way contracts work, the company only gets paid if someone qualified is sitting in that position,
Hmm.
obviously, because somebody's doing the work, you know what I'm saying? And so you don't, yeah, you they'll rather find somebody that already has a clearance and is already good for a certain amount of time, and to bring on to those positions faster. So that's another reason it's kind of harder to get into these contracting jobs.
Yeah, I was asking because I have YouTube viewers that live in Washington, D.C., and typically in that area, you need to have a security plus and you need to have a clearance. So that's why I'm asking that question, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
what is your I was gonna ask you another question. What's It was funny you say that too, because when I joined, so people that are watching this, they don't know about me. When I joined the NYPD, right? I joined the NYPD. I had like all this stuff happening in the background just to get that job, and I'm like, what is going on over here? So then I had my fingerprints, like
Yeah.
they did my fingerprints, and they
Yep.
put all my information in the database. So I
Hmm.
could imagine how it is for someone that is trying to get a security. It has to be crazy because
Yeah,
what I did was crazy. Man, it was insane. Like I had the cop grab my hand, put my thumb, put my thumb on the fingerprints, and they took all my fingerprints. They took information about me. They took a lot of stuff from me. So then I'm inside the system, and then after that, you can't really do
yep.
anything bad. Just can't.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man.
Yeah,
They took it, they even take a full palm print,
yeah,
of
yeah.
every
Yeah,
so
that happened to me. I had that experience in the NYPD, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. So, actually, going back to the topic, sorry about that. I just wanted that was a train of thought in my head. So what I guess how do you stay up to date with technology?
okay. So that's one of the reasons I started my whole YouTube channel. That's just to help me, keep up on technology, because it forces me, in order to create these videos, I have to do a lot of research. I have to, play around with different applications and make them break, and try to fix it, so if I find a bug in it, I gotta figure out a workaround, because I don't want to, when I make my videos, I don't want to tell somebody something, how to do something, and it doesn't work. So a lot of times I'm testing things out just to see if I can kind of break it a little bit, and that way I can put out good information when I create my videos. But um that's one of the ways I keep up with technology, as well as um things that are constantly popping up in my job. I take cues from like the jobs that I work, or like I'm currently working. For instance, I'm starting to see a lot of big data um, talk going on. So people are, talking about big data and data science, all those type of applications that are out there. So it's forcing me to look into what's that all about. That's why I did a video a while back about Anaconda. It's like an application with a whole bunch of tools in it that helps you with data science as well as automation, so and
We spoke about that too, actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I don't want to, yeah, and I don't want to say I'm some expert on it, but I'm learning it just like you guys are learning as well. So um but that's another thing that's I guess keeping me on top of what's going on, and trying to learn new things, because with IT. you constantly have to learn. You know what I'm saying? Is things are changing. Like what I just said, the anaconda thing, big data science, all that stuff is coming. It's currently being used in a lot of positions. So you need to hop into what's new and what's being talked about. Um, Articles, I get news feeds, RSS feeds in my email, where well, not my email client, where it's coming from, I don't know, Tech Radar, or, all these big companies or reputable companies that put out information about new technology that's coming out and all that stuff. And as I see things, if it's something I'm interested in, I'll start looking into it, and learning about it. So
Yeah, that's cool, man. I'm familiar with Anaconda. I had to use Anaconda for an SQL developer. He used, like I told you, I think I spoke with this about you on your channel. He
mhm.
combines that with SQL servers and um, there's a command you can run BLP or something like that. And basically, he was running commands for Bloomberg Technology, and he uses it to automate sales and numbers and also stocks for Bloomberg using Anaconda. So I just shared your information on chat, by the way, your YouTube channel, because people were asking me about it and a couple other people. So yeah, you got yeah.
Okay,
So
thank you.
subscribe to him, man. Subscribe to him. What are you guys doing? Subscribe to him. Anyway, yeah. So what was the next question I was gonna ask you? So what I think you said you would do some can you talk about automation? So what's your advice for someone brand new for automation? Should they learn PowerShell? What should they learn if they're brand new to IT? Like what's your advice on that?
Okay, so I always say this, and a lot of people say this as well, but Python is one of the, most popular programming languages out there now. It's mainly because the syntax can be easily read and understood by a lot of different people. So it's that's one of, I would say, the entry level as well as most popular programming languages out there, and it's being used in a lot of areas, especially when it comes to automation. Like, I've seen it pop up on my network at my job, where they do a lot of orchestra work, or setting up servers quickly, or setting up VMs automatically, do the whole process, doing the configuration. All you have to do is put in the IP addresses, um, and whatever other details, the host name and all that stuff, and then just press start, and it'll spin up that VM with all those requirements that you put in there. You know what I'm saying? And so um that's the type of stuff that's coming and being developed out there. So jobs are going to be there because people are developing things, they move on to other jobs, and then sometimes things break. People have to come in and fix this stuff. So if you understand Python, or you understand these programming languages that people are using to build a lot of automation within companies, somebody has to come in and maintain it, a lot of times. Or you know um yeah, but I mean, it's turnover rates. You get what I'm saying? I guess that's
Yeah,
what I'm.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
What's your? I'm gonna ask you another question. What's your advice for someone, someone, because we're talking with when things are moving to the cloud, right? So,
Hmm.
what this is the big argument right here. So, AWS or Azure or both?
I would say both, because right now AWS is like the most popular cloud, provider out there. It's a lot of people using it, but most people forget, they don't pay attention to it. But the government is pretty much on Windows, and so most likely they're going to go to Azure, because they've invested a lot of money into. So I think Azure is going to, pass AWS in the future, because that's what the government, they're kind of stuck on Windows, you know what I'm saying, as far as what they use. So as far as the amount of people that are going to be using it in the future, I think, and I think I've seen something about them actually, an article a while back about them actually moving to Azure. So not saying they're gonna overtake AWS, because this is still a lot of people out there using AWS, but I know the government is going to be a big a big thing once they move over to the cloud as well. And as far as like the ranking that they have right now, as far as AWS, I think AWS, then Azure, and then Google Cloud, is it? I'm not sure. I know it's like that, or it's that's the most popular ones. So yeah, eventually I think
They'll
they'll
probably
be
catch
kind of
up.
neck and neck. Yeah, they'll be
Yeah,
neck and neck.
they're
Yeah.
gonna catch up.
Mhm.
I was gonna ask you another question. What do you have a? This is a random question. Do you have a do you recommend a lab for someone that's new? And do you have a lab?
And yes, I'm well, I've had a lab for a long time. And what I mean by lab, I just mainly have a Linux server that I run a whole bunch of stuff on. I recently purchased a new server not that long ago, so I could run a lot more VMs on it, because I had some virtual machines on it, but not many. But the new server that I got, I'm going to be expanding it and creating a lot more virtual machines, so I can, I don't know, start learning programming, start developing something, or developing applications if I can, just to have the hardware there. And but at the end of the day, I recommend uh, everybody that's working in IT or interested in getting in IT, you should have some form of a lab. And that's another reason I talk about Linux a lot,
So
because
what's a lab for someone that's brand new?
oh,
What is that? Like people
okay,
are like,
yeah,
what is this? I don't know what that
yeah,
is. I mean, I
yeah,
know what it is
I
too,
got
but
you.
for people that are brand
Yeah,
new, like, what is that?
I got you. So a lab is basically it's just a way of practicing your skills. So it could be, a Raspberry Pi. It could be, that's considered part of a lab. You know what I'm saying? It could be Raspberry Pi. It could be some switches that you got off Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or whatever, some Cisco switches. You just basically taking what you're interested in and building it at the house. And that's even if you already have a job. It's just a way of practicing your skills, so when you do go to work, you know exactly what you're doing, you know what I'm saying, or keeping or staying on top of your skills, you know what I'm saying, because a lot of times, especially Cisco stuff, once you most Cisco equipment, you kind of set it and forget it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you have to go in and update certain things or may change the configuration here and there, but a lot of the configuration, once it's set up, you're not going to really change it for a while. You know what I'm saying? And so just to stay on top of how you actually do these certain things, telnetting into it, and modifying these configurations. Let's say you want to set up or change the network where it's using a different subnet and all this, and I haven't been around networking for a while, so I'm don't kill me on the terminology. But
It's all good.
yeah, if you're trying to set up, let's say you want to set up a different, subnet or some VLANs, or you want to run the network a certain way, you have that equipment at the house to actually replicate that or do that at the house, so you can know what you're doing and stay on top of everything. And then another thing is working with new operating systems. That's why I talk about VirtualBox all the time. VirtualBox is a free application you can install on your laptop. As long as your processor supports virtualization, then you can install as many virtual machines as you want on there, as long as you got the space and the hardware on there, and learn how to, I guess, replicate issues that you've seen at work, and try to come up with a fix, or just test things out, test applications out at the house. That way you can improve your skills. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully that.
I like that answer, man. That's what I do too, by the way. I do the same thing that you do. So like if someone's having a weird error message on their screen, I'm like, let me see if I can recreate that issue on my VM. And then if I could recreate it, then I should be able to reverse engineer it and fix that problem for that person. So that's what usually what I do in IT world. We try to do that. I think you do that too. Everyone does that. So you recreate the problem as someone else is having, and then you reverse engineer it, and then you fix it and you give them a fix. So that's like the best way to do it, because then you don't want to sit there troubleshooting something for 10 hours. It just doesn't work that way. And then you don't want to bother the person either, Yeah.
And another thing, no, I was just gonna say, and another thing, cybersecurity. And I'm not a cybersecurity guy, but I
Mhm.
know a lot of those guys that I don't know, analyze viruses, analyze certain things. They use virtual machines. They use labs that are cut off on the network. You can, like, I've seen people, what was that? The WannaCry virus
Mhm.
that came out a while back. They segmented out a virtual machine and ran it on that system, just, away from everything, disconnected from the network and all that stuff. But to try to understand, I think that's how they did it. They, ran it on the system, or how they fixed it by finding out, I guess, the IP address that it was pinging or something. Um, and I think the person bought the domain name, and that stopped the actual virus. But anyway, a lot of times they analyze um, viruses and malware and all that stuff within virtual machines, which is in a virtual lab. You know what I'm saying? So that's another benefit for having a virtual lab. That I just want to point that out, make sure people know.
Yeah. That makes sense. And going back into going into back here, have you ever worked help desk?
No. And that's why I made that statement, the whole lucky thing. I started off as a systems administrator. That was my first position.
Got it.
But it was a small job, so it was a small business. So I think that's why they, kind of put trust in
Got it.
taking over their whole network, or helping take over their network.
Is there any advice that now that we're live that you want to give to someone that's brand new? Like going back into IT, what advice would you give someone that's brand new to IT?
Um, Everybody has access to the internet. Everybody has access, at least in the US, everybody has access to the internet. Everybody has access to some form of a computer. You can, like I brought up the Raspberry Pi earlier. Raspberry Pi is 35 bucks. You know what I'm saying? You could hook up a screen to it. You can go to the pawn shop, get a $20 screen, HDMI screen, plug it up to the Raspberry Pi, burn the ISO to the SD card, and plug it up for less than $100, and you can start. You can install Kali Linux. You can install any type of Linux you want, Debian, Raspbian, all that on the Raspberry Pi, and start learning IT. And then also with that Raspberry Pi, most people get on the internet. So instead of going watch, I don't know, some hip hop video or something like that, or whatever, um, open up YouTube and pull up one of these channels out here, Kevtech. He does a great job. That's why I support him. It's another guy, Tech G.
Tech
He
G.
helps people. Yeah, he helps people get into the IPT and take those certifications. Or Professor Messer, the big guy. Go check his videos out. But somebody is out here teaching IT. Just take advantage of it. And if even if you don't want to spend on a Raspberry Pi, everybody has a phone. Just go on YouTube, go watch some of these people, and this will at least help you get into the mindset of wanting to get into this field and taking advantage of the information that's being put out here for free.
Makes sense. What would you I guess, because I know I interview other people before. I interviewed someone from the Navy, by the way,
Mhm.
a couple of weeks ago, or a month ago, a couple of months ago. Would you advise someone brand new to get a mentor?
Oh yeah, definitely look into getting a mentor. That's why that whole networking thing, and I know it's kind of hard starting out because you don't know anybody. You know what I'm saying? Getting on LinkedIn and just start following the groups of stuff that you're interested in. Like I'm in one of the
Discord, right?
a lot of, yeah, or Discord. Yeah, Discord.
Yeah,
Check
but
out
you
Kev.
you you have a Discord too.
Yeah, but I don't, I don't keep up on it as much as I should. But
Yeah.
yeah, but nah, get a mentor. I've been doing that for a while. I've been helping people get into IT, helping them with their resume. I don't advertise it, but I
You so
mean,
so
anybody,
anyone watching now, would you do that for them if they were to
yes,
look for you and
yes,
ask you?
definitely.
Okay.
If you, yeah, if I, and that's the thing, most people in IT are like that. It's like I don't know, it's almost like a brotherhood, especially when somebody says, "Oh man, I want to do what you do," you know what I'm saying, and most people that are in IT will take the time out and explain to you how to get into that position, because it's, I don't know, most people are proud. I mean, most people in IT, I guess, that I've met are proud of what they do, and they don't mind talking about it. They don't mind sharing about it and telling people how to actually get into it. So um, just talk to people. You know what I'm saying? If it's somebody doing something that you're very interested in, just talk to them. Send them an email, and ask them, how do I get into this field, or how, and most of the time they'll take out the time and explain to you how to actually get into it, or at least point you to somebody else that can help you get into it.
Nice, man. Yeah, that's what it is. People will help you. All you gotta do is ask for help. It's just
Yeah.
man, it's just that's how it is with IT. I'm trying to see if anyone have any IT questions or anything career advice questions. I'm checking chat right now. Just checking. I'm not sure if you have your chat open, but I'm checking chat right now.
Oh yeah, I'm looking, and I shared the stream as well on my side.
Yeah, and I share your channel. So anyone that's watching again, like I said, subscribe to him. And it's funny because KeepITTechnie, I have never met him in person. I just found him on YouTube, and then he found me, and then it's like one of those things that you just click. We clicked immediately. I'm just like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna follow him. He followed me, and I went to his channel, and he came to my channel. So just as it's not, and it's not even like he doesn't even personally know me. Like he just followed me. I'll follow him, and it's just those connections you make with different IT communities. That's the number one thing you need to do. If you're brand new to IT, same thing. Like just go out there and make yourself known. Just have some sort of reputation. And then when you build that reputation, you connect with people. And I tell people sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. So that's very important. That's how I look at it. And I'm just trying to see if anyone has any questions. But yeah, I don't know if you want to say anything else. And honestly, I appreciate the fact that you came to talk to me and came to this interview live. And I also appreciate the fact that you actually, because I respect people in the military, by the way. I have a high level of respect for people in the military. That's just how I am, because I know people in the military, and I actually hanged out with people in the military. So I appreciate that too. Like I appreciate that service. That's just how I am. So
no problem.
Yeah.
No, but one other thing I wanted to say, when things, I guess, open up after this pandemic, gets behind us, you guys need to start looking into the tech meetups, like on meetup.com. They be having like coffee and code. I've seen people, they'll do that like once a week, and that'll afford you the opportunity to meet people that are actually into these fields. I don't know about in smaller towns, but I know in bigger towns, I know, like, I currently work in San Diego, but I live in Las Vegas, which is kind of weird. But I was going to meetups down in San Diego before this whole thing happened. Like that helps you with with learning emerging tech as well. Like I remember they was talking about the OR programming language a while back, which is another data. I can't remember what it's for.
It stops you from getting shy too, because a lot of people that are brand new to IT, they cannot talk to people.
Yes, that's true.
That's an issue right there. So you need to get out of your comfort zone. You need to be uncomfortable to be comfortable.
Yep.
So you need to actually go and take the time to talk to people and meet up and interact with people. That's why I tell people, join Discord, join some sort of social community event, join something. So then you're able to interact with people, because that's the only way people will know who you are, is by talking to people. It's just that's how I look at it. It's just because you're not gonna learn anything if you do things on your own. You have to actually engage with people and talk to people. That's just the way IT is. It's just and you work with people too, and that's IT itself. Like with customers, with clients, with your coworkers, with your managers, everyone. There's people. You just gotta know how to talk to people. It's just you cannot avoid people at all, man, unless you're talking to robots. And I don't know, talking to a bunch of robots. That's a different story. So just trying to see if anyone has any questions. People are answering their own questions here in chat from what I see.
Yeah.
So do you have any questions for me? that you want to ask me that you thought of that you wanted to ask me before that you forgot to ask me?
Um, I think I asked everything I could think of. It I think it's a question I want to ask you probably offline.
Okay. Okay. All right.
So, um, but well, I ask you that later. Never mind.
Yeah, ask me later. That's
Um,
fine. Let's see if anyone else has any questions, and then if not, we'll call it a day. And I know you were drinking coffee like me, so
mhm.
that's probably another reason why we got along. Is because you pull out the coffee cup and I pull out the coffee cup, and I'm like, he drinks coffee. I'm like, yeah, I
Yeah.
do too. You know, so they're like, in IT, you either drink coffee or you drink tea,
Hmm.
or you drink beer. You drink alcohol, drink beer.
Well, I think
So
we all drink beer
yeah, yeah,
later on.
yeah. Later on, yeah, exactly. So. Someone was asking, how did you start out as a system admin? Did you do search before? How was the job search?
Okay, so mainly I just like I said, I just started putting my resume out there. And all I really had was some military experience as well as um my school that I went to. And I think I talked about it earlier, but my
Mhm.
school was more hands-on. So when especially when it came to the interview process, I was able to speak more to the lingo and everything when it comes to Active Directory, how to manage a domain, all that good stuff. I could speak to it on the phone because that I think that interview I did over the phone, and then they wanted to interview me again once I actually moved to Las Vegas. Especially once I knew I was kind of seeing a lot of offers, I had to go there in order to start going do the physical interviews as well. Because a lot of people want to bring you back as on the second interview. But anyway, once I got that, I guess I got that good feeling that this thing will kind of work out. I'll probably get some positions out there. I made that move out there to Las Vegas, and then the interview process with that schooling, like I was saying, that technical schooling, hands-on training, I was able to speak the lingo. I was able to talk um, about the technology in the best way possible in order to get the job. So that's how I was able to get that system admin job, I guess, out the gate.
Did you build a lab at home for that, or?
And to be honest, no.
Oh
I
wow,
Yeah, I didn't have anything at the time. This was back in 2008.
I'm
Um,
going back there. We're going way back.
yeah. Yeah.
Someone else asked, is A plus truly enough to land an entry level job or tech position?
Uh, I believe so. I mean, I don't know what your feelings are, Kev, but it's best to have, um,
The resume too.
yes, a good resume.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Resume
you
is
know,
important.
yeah.
You gotta have a good resume, and I tell people, like I tell, go get the A plus if you're brand new to IT, because you know, someone that's brand new that is getting the A plus would finally at least understand how the operating system works. Because when you go
Mhm.
to an actual job, like um, and I think you approach it the way I approach it. Like I tell people that you cannot get a sysadmin job if you have no foundation understanding for
Yep.
IT.
Yep.
You just can't be a sysadmin like that. It doesn't work that way. I tell people that. People get mad at me. I told you, people get mad at me. People get mad when I say that. I'm like, learn the foundations first. And then after you build a job experience, then you can go ahead and be a sysadmin, network admin, or cybersecurity. Right? There's no
Mhm.
jumping that,
Yeah.
unless you know somebody, then and
Mhm.
then you could jump that. So
Yeah.
someone said, how can we contact KeepITTechnie?
Oh, it's keepitechie at gmail.com. You can send me a email, and then also I know everybody's on all the different social media platforms. It's Keep It Techie everywhere. So IG, Facebook. Um, I got a Discord, but I post that link is found on my channel somewhere. But on my main channel, you can find all my links at the top. Right. So
Someone asked, was sysadmin tough when you first started?
it it wasn't, and I believe it was because um of the type of company that I work for.
Mm-hmm.
Um I every well, okay. Most of the time, majority of the time, you're not coming in. Um building a network from the ground up. The infrastructure is done. Pretty much everything is set up. You just have to kind of maintain it, unless they're adding new things to the network or expanding the building or something like that. But majority of the time, it's not. It's not like that. Most of the infrastructure is done. So that port is behind you. You know what I'm saying? So as far as setting up the service, you may have to go in and rebuild the network if something is configured improperly or the
Mm-hmm.
network is set up wrong. Um, but majority of the times you're gonna roll with what they got, and you can transition it over if you need to like new servers or whatever. You can move things over. Um, but as far as system admin, it wasn't that tough. And then plus there was another system admin already working there. And so in my case, um, I was able to lean on him understanding the way things were set up. So I don't know if that makes sense. Most of the time it's a team you coming
Mm-hmm.
in on. It ain't gonna be just one system admin there. Most of the time you're gonna be a junior systems administrator, and you're gonna have somebody above you that's gonna take the reins of training you and getting you up to speed to understand their network, because everybody network is different. Everybody uses different applications. Sometimes you may roll in and they got a call server, sitting there with some old application that nobody in the world actually uses. So somebody has to show you how to do that, or how to maintain that. Now, if the person left, then you gotta sit there and try to figure it out. But at the end of the day, most of the time it's gonna be somebody there to help you transition, as well as documentation. That's why I always preach documentation. So whenever you're building something, you need to have documentation on how this stuff works. That way, if you get hit by a bus, tomorrow, and you're the only one that knows how to access this SQL server, you know, then people are gonna be trying to figure out how to do it. And I hate to use a grim, example, but if you get hit by a bus or something tomorrow and nobody knows how to get into this, I mean, then
You're in trouble.
yeah, yeah.
Documentation is very important.
Yeah.
Do you use a ticketing system in your job? Pretty sure you do.
Yes, we do. And
Okay.
can't really
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
can't really talk about it. Yeah.
What's did you what are some well, I guess what are some fun projects that you had to do as a sysadmin? Did you do some sort of migration or anything?
Yes, and let me tell you this. This was one of my, I guess, favorite things that happened. So I worked as that system administrator. So that afforded me to get another systems administrator job after like a year of working that first position that I got. So this was a startup. This was a school. They had a whole bunch of old servers. So what I did was it afforded me the opportunity to actually rebuild the whole network and rebuild all the servers and set up all brand new servers. I wrote out the plan of I mapped out everything, like the amount of servers that we needed, um, the amount of space, all that stuff. I went through and mapped it out, and this was like one of my best experiences, I guess, during my career. I was able to create a brand new domain from the ground up, and set up the SQL server, set up the websites, migrated a lot of stuff over, created backups, as well as came up with a way to clone all the laptops. I don't know if you ever used Ghost. You ever used Ghost before? Yeah, yeah.
I use
So
Ghost. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I was able to because they opened up the school. Actually, the school failed, but they opened up the school. I was there from the beginning, before the school actually opened. So we had to clone all the laptops, have all them configured a certain way. So when the students came and they got their equipment, you know what I'm saying, they will automatically be connected to the network and all the tools that they need depending on the courses that they're going into. But I rebuilt everything from them from the ground up. Um, I think the building had went through a flood at one point, so the owner, um, a lot of the equipment was kind of old and messed up. some of it. So they got brand new Dell servers. Oh, and also the patch panel portion of it. When you looked at it, it was trash. It's just all over the place. So we had to go through, basically check all the wires, in the patch panel, and just, I don't know, switch out ones that were bad, switch out the connectors, all that stuff. I was able to do everything, and a lot of that stuff is kind of like, I don't know, help desk type stuff. I was able to do that in that systems administrator role as well. So I wore all the hats pretty much and did everything in the network. So it was super fun being the only one running this and setting up the domain, and just alongside the other domain, and then transition everybody over to the new domain. That whole process was super dope. You know what I'm saying? I enjoyed that.
It's a good learning experience.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
very good learning experience.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That actually sounds like fun, actually.
Yeah.
Um, what's someone was asking what are some good certs for a sysadmin? I think Microsoft's one of them.
Yeah.
Microsoft's definitely a good cert. What do you recommend?
um Microsoft, like you said, because most most of the systems you're gonna run into are gonna be Microsoft, especially when you're dealing with a domain and all that. Active Directory, the Microsoft search is kind of where you want to go. MCSE or
Hmm.
whatever it is. I
Hmm.
don't have it, but um I had the experience, that's how I was able to do it. But it is recommend you get those certifications in order to to do good in that area. And I'm not sure if they're starting to break this stuff up.
Yeah,
You
it's
may know more than me.
more
Okay.
career based now with Azure, Microsoft Azure certification. It's more career based now. So
Yeah,
someone, because
because
Joe Long was
application
asking.
as a service.
Yeah,
Application as a service. Yeah.
yeah, they have different ones now. And
Okay.
for me, the same thing. I have job experience too. I don't have any Microsoft certs.
Hmm.
It's because I touched servers before. That's
Yeah.
it's job experience. When you have job
Hmm.
experience, I just didn't need to have it for
Hmm.
for my job. But
Exactly.
that's yeah. But get Microsoft, because someone's asking. Get Microsoft certifications is very important. That's gonna help you in your career, and actually, you get more money too when you have Microsoft too, because Microsoft is well needed. Is it does it feel? This is gonna be a random question before we end this. Does it feel weird for you to use Windows operating system because you do a lot of Linux stuff?
Um,
I was gonna ask you. I wanted to
not
ask that
not
question.
not really. And the reason I say that is because I've been using Microsoft since I started working in IT. So it's Microsoft, it's kind of like second nature once you get it. And that's why I think right now, even though I've been away from system administration work, I'm pretty sure I get hot right back into it, because the only thing that's changed is the interface. It looks a little bit cleaner, like as far as getting in, changing group policies, updating group policies, all that stuff is pretty much the same from what I remember, and from what I've seen. So I know I could hop right back into it. And so Microsoft, yeah, they add features, but a lot of it is pretty much the same, and it hasn't really changed. It's just has a new facelift on it. And then PowerShell. So I have to do a lot of PowerShell with my job as a database administrator, because you could do pretty much anything with a SQL server, as the same way you could do, they have ways to write code to interact with a SQL server from PowerShell. Um, so just by learning that, that'll allow me to do everything. I know I could do everything on the Active Directory side and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, um, that's another thing I want to point out. Active Directory is nothing but a big database. That's all it is. Tables, columns, rows. You got all your different people in there. That's all it is. It's a SQL database that holds all the people, and it ties the people to the other table that manages permissions, and then another table that manages group policy, what they're able to do on the network. It's just all it is a relational database, which is what I do.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. Someone was asking, what's the difference between a coder, a developer, and a software engineer?
Okay. coder, I mean, it kind of falls in
kind of together in that way.
together, because as a coder, you can be a software developer, because most of the time you're going to be developing some type of software, and which requires a coding language in order to build the interface or build the front end of whatever you're trying to build. So coding, software development is pretty much the same thing. I mean, you could get those jobs as a coder. And what was the other one?
So it's coder, developer, and software engineer.
Oh, software engineer.
Yeah.
Engineering, I mean, you basically developing the, I guess, the outline of it, or I don't know, designing from the front end to the back end to everything. Like the requirements as far as that. I mean, that's considered like engineering work. You kind of what is needed to run this application as far as hardware goes, and making sure you set everything up the proper way. So I don't know, that could fall in under project management almost. I don't know.
Yeah. And the other question was difference between sysadmin and database admin.
System admin. Yeah, I mean, you're basically managing all the systems. Database admin, you're managing that database
SQL server.
Yeah, the SQL server. So I mean, a systems admin could do the job. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the database admin, they know more about SQL. So that way they can manage the SQL server a whole lot better. But I mean, it's just like maintaining the server.
Yes,
It's the same thing, pretty much.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up because I don't want to keep you any longer. I know you have things you gotta do. So, KeepITTechnie, thank you for being here. I greatly appreciate. I had a fun interview. I feel like I could pick your brain after this interview. So I'll keep you around and we'll talk a little bit, and you can ask me that question that asked me. Thank you guys for joining. I greatly appreciate. I don't know if you want to say anything to the audience. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for joining. Subscribe to his channel, follow him as well. He likes to help people in IT, so go ahead and talk to him, follow him. Give him love too, because in my IT community, I know they're watching, so give him love too. I do that for everyone. I'm like respect and love. Do you have anything else you want to say before we wrap it up? For them, anyone watching?
But hey, if you're trying to get into IT, just get out there and find you somebody that can help you get into it. Or Kevtech is doing a great job, an excellent job on helping people. You know what I'm saying? And then someone asked, my email address is keepititechnie@gmail.com. You can just email me there if you got any questions or whatever. But I appreciate you bringing me on, Kev. It means a lot to me. And just keep doing what you're doing, because you if you don't know it, you helping somebody. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to do the exact same thing, man.
Yeah, man. So I don't do it for money. I do it to help people. That's just how I am. I'm just a genuine guy. Just like you're a genuine guy. It's just we just do it to help people, right? Like you didn't know anything about IT, and then you want to help other people, right? Just you've been there. You've been in their shoes. People have been in our shoes where we don't know anything. We've been in those shoes before. So why not help somebody else, right?
Exactly.
All right. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna close out the meeting right now. Just give me a second. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Stay safe.